Stage 2 fuel tank delivery to the loading site in Urska River. Hello there everybody and welcome to OpenFed Gaming. I am the OpenFed. We are back in our Kenworth 963 as we're going to attempt to do a Stage 2 fuel tank delivery after we go pick it up, of course. Now we delivered the Stage 3 fuel tank the other day and we were down a little bit on our fuel, so we're gonna fuel up from our trusty little mobile gas station or fuel station, and we're going to be on our way. Now it's quite a long journey, a little bit longer than the other one was, but we don't have any choice. This is the easiest and quickest way to get to that fuel, that Stage 2 fuel tank that I know of. So we're going to try and do it to the best of our abilities and as safely as we can. But as we all know, we are driving in SnowRunner. And in SnowRunner there are many pitfalls that we can fall into. So let's start off on our journey and start by going around the loading site building station, if you want to call it that. We got to get ourselves down around the back and down to ice level. That's going to be the best way. Now, as you're driving along the side of this building, you can see in front of you there's a couple of humps of snow there. Now, it's not a problem for the Kenworth, but on the way back, that fuel tank is pretty high up on the flat deck. So we're going to see if we can bypass this hump just to the left. You see that? We can go on that little bit flatter piece of snow and hopefully bypass this angly part, because during this trip it's all about the angles because we're going to be so top heavy. We want to try and keep our truck as level from side to side as possible, because anything a little bit too angly, and yeah, you guessed it, we're going to be tipping our truck. And I tell you, I am a master at tipping them because I've done it more times than I care to remember. So with that thought in mind, we're going to try and keep it as level as possible and see if we can pull this whole trip off without any real problems. Now as we're coming up around the corner here, we're at the back of the loading site complex, and we got to go down just to the right of these little rocks and then to the left of that big boulder. Now we want to try and stick as close to the boulder as possible going down and coming up, because if you go a little bit too far away from it, there again the ground is unstable and at an angle. Now you see the view flipping back and forth in that I'll get back to that in a second. That dip is really tight, so when you go down, the front end of your truck just digs into the dirt, and so you just got to kind of pull it through. Anyhow, when the camera was flipping back and forth like that, it is mainly because we're so close to the rocks and the view itself gives you a top view all of a sudden. That's not me doing it. Although I do try to move the camera around a little bit more so that people can get a different view of the truck, and sometimes I go a little bit too fast, and I apologize for that. I'm trying to do it a little bit more slowly, and hopefully I'll get better as time progresses. Anyhow, we're gonna come up here and you can see there's a piece of angle cement slab there that was at one time laying on the road, and we got to cut down just in front of it, and then when we come back, of course, same thing. Right? So as we're coming off of here, we're going to head down this little ice road. Here again, most of the problems in SnowRunner are easily tackled if you go a little slower. Now, as you can see, I'm going a little faster, and you can see me sliding off of there and going on an angle. Now you wait till I come back and I'll go slow and I won't slide at all. If I remember, I'll mention it. Anyhow, as we're coming up around here, we take this road for just a little distance and then we cut down to ice level. Try to miss as many of the boulders as you can. And if you do have to hit any of the boulders, try and pick the smallest ones that you can. so that you don't get high centered on the bigger ones, which is really hard to do with the Kenworth because it's such a big truck. But nevertheless, you should still try and miss as many as you can, because you never know. And if there is nothing to winch on around there, boy, I tell you, you get stuck on a boulder, you're going to be there. You might be there for a little while. But anyhow, we got through that okay. And as we're cruising up the ice here, always remember when you're driving on ice and you can tell to the left how breakaway it looks, always try to stay as far to the right as you can. It's usually a little bit more solid closer to the edge, obviously, because there's less water there. So that's what I try to do. And then coming up here, there's a couple of places you can go. You can climb up in here, which we're going to try this time, but you can go a little further and go around the rocky areas. There's really no right or wrong way. They're all kind of hard, because if it's not boulders that you're dealing with, then it's deep snow. And if it's not deep snow, then it's mud. So if you can avoid some of those things, then that'll make your journey a little bit easier. So then when we get over here, like I said, I couldn't make up my mind. Which way do I want to go? Do I want to go to the left, where it looks a little bit smaller boulders, and then climb up on the snow? Or, well, let's try it on this time for a change. We'll see what happens. Nah, he doesn't seem to be doing too bad, and you know, it's all about time, right? I mean, if it's going to take you 5-6 minutes to get through, then that's just a little bit too much. So, you know, if it takes you 25 seconds, 20-25 seconds because you're climbing over top of rocks, well, that's awesome. So having said that, there's a little hole right here that you can't see, and you end up driving through. And I don't think or know if there's a way you can avoid it. Right here. And about the only thing you could do is hook onto that telephone pole ahead of you with the winch. By the time you hook it up, and I just figured, well, let it grind for a few seconds, and then we'll move on. So then just up ahead here, we're going to turn to the right, because we're now at the top of the map. So turning to the right here, they've dropped some logs in the road for traction, but they only go a little ways. And then it's all boulders and deep snow. And I used to slog through there and fight through there, and I tell you, I avoided this path, this direction at all costs. So then I tried a different route. I thought there's got to be a better way. So I figured, well, we'll go this way here and over here. And here I made a mistake. Should have never gone that way, because there is a tree laying across the road. But we'll realize that when we get that far, as you'll soon see. So this is the way I was gonna go, but now you watch. In that one little area, and I'll show it to you when we get closer to it, as we're trying to get through here. Now here again, you can go through the water in the slushy part, but I prefer to stay close to the sides if I can, and I didn't want to go around this snow hump, so I thought I'd go through it, because I was counting on having to go up there, up top on your view where the next marker is, through in between those boulders, those two big rocky areas. Now, you can't see it yet, but as you get closer, you'll find out that there's a tree that is laying right across that entrance. I don't know what you want to call it, passageway, I guess. That tree doesn't look like it's all the way across, but it is. I've gone through there, I've tried it, and it's really hard to get through there. That tree, for some reason, grabs a hold of your truck, and you cannot get through there. So I didn't realize that until I got about right here where I saw the tree, and I'm going, oh, I forgot about that. So I went, okay. Then we're going to have to readjust our route, because I don't want to get stuck in there for too long. So we're going to go over this way, through here, around that rock, up top, and then that's it. As you can see, you can't really see that it goes right across, but it does. Trust me on that one. But you can give it a shot if you'd like. I don't want to do it again. So that's why we go this way. Now this way too, It takes a little bit of time because you got a couple of spots like right here. You got the deep snow again. And there again too, you can throw your winch out, but it'll grab the nearest tree. And those little pine trees don't do much pulling. You'd have to grab a hold of one of the bigger ones. And you know, sometimes you feel like doing it, and sometimes you don't. If the truck is still moving like that, I figure, why bother, right? So we're just gonna keep rolling like that. Miss the boulders on the left there. Try and go around them. And we've got one little more section to go through, and then we're done. Now, one thing you got to remember, you want to try and find the easiest route possible. The reason for that being is not just so that you can get through it easier, but when you got to come back. We got to come back the exact same way that we came. Because there are different routes to come back, but they're much, much harder, especially with a real top heavy load like we've got. So that load actually is gonna dictate which way we're gonna go. Now, as we go around this boulder, you'll be able to see the logs in the road again, and then you'll know that you got traction again. It's gonna go a little bit better. Right over here. Now we got a few more areas, but nothing really to worry about right now. We're almost at the, I don't know what you would call it. You take a look and see what you think it should be called. It's not a log yard, but all the trees are cut down, and a bunch of them are laying all over the place, and there's stumps everywhere. So I know it's not a log yard, because I've worked in a sawmill before, and I know what a log yard looks like. So there is a log yard off to the right of this dead tree forest, I guess you could call it. But anyhow, you take a look and we'll see. So as we're coming up here, this is all pretty easy, all pretty standard stuff. As we're climbing over top of this, just take it easy, and you'll be just fine. It's a little bit of a rocky area, but it doesn't pose much of a problem. Now you can see the black arrow in the yellow triangle, the little yellow diamond. That is where the fuel tank is. So that's what we got to get to. Now, as you're coming down here, there's a couple of places that are a little muddy, and it's always advisable to miss them as much as you can. Notice the angle of the truck? That road is tipped from one side to the other, from side to side. So we're going to have a little bit of fun coming back up there. But first we got to get it. So as we're driving here, we're going to go around this little mud pit, make it a little bit easier. And as you look to the right, that is where the tank will be. Now, like I said, there's an entrance there to the left of that little red cabin, but it's pretty muddy. And I don't know, well, I didn't want to, you can get through it, but I didn't want to spend the time to go through it. There's stumps on one side, you have to go right through the middle of that water hole, and I didn't want to do that. So I figured, okay, let's try to the right of that little cabin. There's two stumps there, but it looks like the truck probably could fit. So we're going to try it a little bit different. We're going to go off the board. Yeah, she should fit right through there. Now, whenever you're driving in a place like this, see, and I got stuck on something, and there's a tree laying there. And most of the time, if you back up and go forward, it'll let you go, but sometimes you have to completely change the direction of your truck, even if it's only a little bit. See, because I didn't move it very far that second time, and it went okay. It's a little bit of a pain trying to drive through all these trees, and there's really not much of a strategy here. I mean, it's basically drive in, put it on the back of your truck, and then back out, because you really can't. I didn't even want to begin trying to turn my truck around. You'd be looking from side to side constantly, trying to see if you're running into a stump or not. So now we're going to have a quick little nap, and we wake up and it's morning time. And at the morning time, we put out our anchors, start up the truck, and pick this thing up and put it on the flatbed. Now there again, it took me quite a while to learn how to use the crane properly. And as you can see, I'm still not that good at it. Every time, I never seem to lift the item high enough to hit the flat deck. But now we're getting better, and it's not too difficult. I try to put it on as straight as I can, although you don't have to. If you're a little bit of an angle, that's fine. If you hit pack cargo, it will pack your whatever you got on the back. So it's not that big a deal. But I try to do it a little bit nicer job. So here we go. I'm gonna pack the cargo, restore the crane, and I think we're just gonna back out of this rather than try to think about, because the other thing you got to remember, if you try to turn around and you go in between these stumps, it could be, the mud could be a lot deeper there. So rather than do that, let's just back it straight out. Let's just back it straight out of here, and let's just go right beside that mud hole. And if we stick to the side a little bit, maybe she'll be okay. Because there is room on the other side. I didn't realize that. I was just looking over there, and then those aren't even stumps. I think those are barrels that are sitting there, and I could have probably drove right over top of them. Anyhow, live and learn. Makes no difference neither way. So we're just going to back her up out of here, and that was pretty successful in that part. Now this is the second fuel tank. We did the stage 3 yesterday or a couple days ago, and we're doing the stage 2 today. And then all we have left is the engine assembly. So there's 3 parts to this contract of orbital velocity. Okay, so as we're going back up there again, it's a little muddy just up ahead there where the junction is, where you could turn off left. Now if you did turn off left here, just up ahead, you'd be heading out towards the steel mill. But we don't need to go to the steel mill today. So we're going to try and take it a little bit to the right, just a little bit to the right, so we're not going to drive right straight into the mud, and hopefully the truck won't tilt too much to the left, eh? So that's going to be okay there. But as you look up ahead, that road, the road up ahead here, just at the top of the second, just past the second pole there, electrical pole, the road tips to the right and just tilts a little bit. And there again, now if you come up this hill and you're going at a regular speed and you keep going at a regular speed, you will tip your truck. But if you slow down a little bit and take it easy, don't go too fast, and it seems to be much easier, I found, for me anyhow. So whenever I come up to a problem area, I just slow right down. And sometimes when you're going downhill, I would even put it in low gear. Because when you're in low gear, it really holds the truck back and it keeps it from running away on you. So it does help. Now we're just going to kind of try and claw through here. And then we are out of all the problems until we get to that watery area again. And even that is not that bad. It's just that if you don't take the optimum path, then you're going to be in a little bit deeper snow, and it's going to take you a little bit longer. But that's okay, because we found the optimal route anyhow. We're not going to go the other way anymore. I was wondering how I was going to get this tank out of there, because the other route, if you want to go towards the steel mill route, that one is really difficult. So this one, hard as it is still easier than the other one. Okay, so as we're coming up to these logs, we just got to get to the end of the logs and then go around that big rock again to the left. Wow, absolutely awesome. This truck is such a capable truck, I tell you. I don't think there's a better truck in the game for what it can do. Now, I do gotta admit that if you want to tow a fifth wheel, the Zigzee is better because it's got a lower frame, a shorter frame than the Kenworth. So the Kenworth makes towing a trailer really long. So now we're gonna lay in the trackers real quick for ourselves so we know which way we gotta go. Don't make another mistake, because because I've done that before and I had to back up. And that's the reason why I don't like to pull trailers, because I cannot back up a trailer. I'll be the first one to admit it, I'm horrible at it. I can back up a truck, not the trailer with it. So, as we're coming through here, now remember this was that area where the snow was a little bit deeper. And it's going to take a few minutes to get through, but before you know it, we'll be on the other side and we'll be heading off towards ice level again. And then we're going to be getting close. Because we're probably about almost halfway back. So, and as you're coming up here, there again, you can pick your own route. And one time I stayed too close to the right-hand side over here, and this time I'm going to try the left-hand side. Because I think if you look, I think you can see tracks later on. You can't see any now. I was just looking to see which way I wanted to go, and I just wasn't quite sure. But I think we're going to go straight and to the right of that big pile of snow. Now, if we go to the left, there's less boulders, but the water and the mud might be deeper. So you can give it a shot and see what happens. You see, I can see my old tracks from before. So I'm a little bit over from where I was before, and it seems to be a little bit more solid right here. So, but either way, I mean, it doesn't take a really long time to get through, although I did get stuck on something there. So we back her up just a little bit, turn the steering wheel back, and away she goes again. Yeah, like I said many times before, if you like your games to be fast driving or a little bit quicker, then this is not the game for you. In this game, everything is in slow mode. Maybe that's why the Opafed likes it so much. He likes everything in a little bit more slow mode than before. You know, and it's a little puzzly. You got to try and figure out which way to go, where to get your cargo and stuff like that. But that's what I enjoy. And the graphics are absolutely fantastic. They're awesome. The gameplay is great, although I do complain constantly about the way the Tuz turns and bends and steers and bounces. But I guess that comes with the territory. Now up ahead in the distance there, you can see, if I had ever stopped flipping the camera around, you can see the logs up in the distance, and you know that once you get to there, then you're out of the deep muck anyhow. We're going to be okay. We're going to get this far. But the hardest part is still coming. The hardest part of the job is still coming. And I'm sure that if you've been watching this video from the beginning, then I'm sure you know that the hardest part is going to be the climb up that hill just outside the loading site facility. That's going to be another job. But we're going to tackle it, and I'm sure things are going to go okay, I suppose. I have to think that, because that's the way we're going to go. Now you can see the arrow just popped up on the board for where we got to deliver it, and that arrow obviously is where the loading site is. It's going to guide us to that. But it doesn't tell you which way to go on the roads and on the ice and where to turn. That you have to know yourself. So I've driven this particular map quite a bit. That's why I always suggest try and do as many, if not all, of the regular tasks first, because what that'll do for you is it'll open up your map. You'll get your watchtowers, you grab those, you do your tasks, fix the bridges and stuff like that. And at least then you can look at the map and study it and know that you don't have to go straight here. You can turn, go down to ice level, and you could travel to where you want to be much quicker. But you would never know that if you didn't have the map uncovered, or if you didn't have certain bridges fixed, or certain landslides cleared. So if you do all that, it helps you in the long run with the contracts later on, I found. And it's taken me a long time to figure that out, so trust me, I'm not the quickest in some of these, but I tell you, I don't know of anybody that has more fun playing it. Having said that, we're now at ice level, and we're getting really close. As you can see up ahead, well, you can't see it yet because of the angle of the camera, but up ahead there's a bridge up. Whoa, that was a big boulder. Up ahead is a bridge, and we're going to climb back into the hill. There he is, you can just see it, and we're going to go back on that road that comes off of that bridge. So this made it a lot easier than having to try and slog along the hillside somewhere. Over here, when you do start climbing up, try to miss as many of the bigger rocks. The little ones don't make any difference. See, I don't even pay attention to them. I just look at the big ones, and those are the ones I avoid. So you can see them. They're pretty easy to see. And there again, it takes a little bit of work to get up here, but it's not that the Kenworth can't do it. It's just that I'm going a little slower because I don't want to tip the truck any worse, and I don't want to have any trouble with it. Now, as we're coming back on the road here that leads off of the bridge, I had told you when we came through here earlier that this is an ice road, and if you're not careful, you'll always slide off the side. And I did. I was sliding off the side because I was going a little bit too fast. But now, we got this big tank on the back, and we're going to go a little bit slower, and if you notice, the truck doesn't slide. A little bit slower, we go right to the edge, and then we're going to just drive right back up on the track itself without the truck sliding down or sliding sideways. And I gotta believe that that's only because of the speed that we're going through there. So, anyhow, you can see that one slab that's on an angle, and that's where we got to go back up. And this is going to be a test for the Kenworth, because not only is it steep, very steep, but there's two sections to it, and we got a lot of weight on the back. So first, you can't avoid this first boulder. You're going to have to straddle it because you can't go over too far, because then tip your truck. Everything is going to result in tipping your truck if you're not careful. So then, as we're climbing up here, we try to stay close to the left-hand side, because if you look at that first hill, the first bump, there's a tree right in the middle of the track. Now, if you try to avoid him, look at how angly the hill is. You'd really be tipping to the left. So we just crushed the tree. We crushed the tree and we keep going. Now that's the easy part of the hill, and here comes the really hard part. And I don't know if the Kenworth can. Well, if he can't make it, we can always try and winch our way up. Look at that. That is one steep hill. And we got it in a regular gear. We didn't even put it in low. Oh, he's sliding a little bit over to the side, and he's tipping a little bit. If those front tires would only grab, almost there. All right. Oh, I think we're going to be okay. I think we're going to be okay. Here we are. We made it up to the top. Wow. What an awesome grind. Now we only got one more problem left, and that's those two bumps of snow, like I said. If you remember at the beginning of the video, when we left the loading site facility when we left it this morning. We want to avoid those two. We've driven through it twice now, even with the stage 3 tank we drove through there, but it was a little hairy. So I figured, well, this time let's go over. It can't be any more difficult. You know, if the snow is too deep, well, then we're just going to have to wait it out until we get through. But he seems to be going okay, you know. And the snow is a lot flatter, so I don't have to worry so much about the truck tipping. Yeah, you guessed it. But we got to climb back up over here again, so, you know, and then all it is just a matter of making it up to the road. And we can go up, turn into the complex, and deliver our stage 2 fuel tank. Boy, I tell you, it was a long slog, and it sure is satisfying getting up here finally. Now Let's try not to make any mistakes at the end. There we go. Just around the corner, we almost got it made. What an absolutely awesome delivery. Soon, in one of our upcoming videos, we're going to be delivering that engine assembly, and then they're going to be putting that rocket together. I guess it's a rocket. We're going to find out. So I hope to see you back there for that. If you want to see the final stages of this contract, the video should be up within a few days after this one, whenever this one comes up. And then we'll see the finalization of the orbital velocity contract. Absolutely awesome. I really enjoyed this trek down in SnowRunner. What a fantastic game. I hope you had a great time watching it, and hope to see you back at Opafett Gaming again real soon. In the meantime, you've been running through the snow in a Kenworth with the Opafett. You have a great day.